Hello, my name is Becky Menzel, and I am the Genealogy Librarian at the Spokane Public Library. Today I will be discussing women in genealogy and how to research the women in your family tree. Maternal genealogy can be very difficult, especially if you don't know a woman's maiden name. Often the records you will find of her life will list her only by her husband's name, as though she has no identity of her own. But never fear, there are ways to find out more about her if you know where to look and what to look for. Throughout history, the husband has exercised almost exclusive power and responsibility in a marriage, and rarely had to consult his wife to make decisions about anything. Coverture rendered a woman subordinate to her husband and often took her legal identity. After marriage, the husband was seen as the rightful owner of all of his wife's possessions, including finances, property, and children. A man could discipline his wife as he saw fit, and prior to the feminist movement of the 1970s, the legal system still saw wife-beating as a trivial offense. Policemen would tell husbands to calm down and wives to stop annoying them, and cases were rarely prosecuted. The expectations men had for women are illustrated here in these advertisements. Christina Kasabian Schaefer, author of The Hidden Half of the Family, writes of the women who came before us. I cannot put gas in my car without a note from my husband. The car, the house, and everything else I think that I own is in his name. When I die, I cannot decide who will receive my personal effects. If he dies first, I may be allowed to stay in my home, or may be given a certain number of days to evacuate the premises. Any real estate I inherit from my husband is not mine to sell or devise in a will. All the money I earn belongs to my husband. I cannot operate or engage in business in my own name. If my ancestor is enslaved, I cannot marry, may not be allowed to raise my own children, join a church, travel freely, own property, or testify against those who harm me. All of these issues can make searching for women in public documents feel impossible. Often referred to as the wife, daughter, or mother of a man, she is rarely listed by her own name. To find a woman, you must first know the name of her father, husband, or son. Only after a woman was widowed was she referred to in documents by her first name or her initials. If you know approximately when she was born, a timeline can help calculate what dates to look for. Most women were between 18 and 24 when they first married and started a family. Many women died in childbirth, but if she survived, her life expectancy average was about 65 through the mid-1900s. Birth announcements and baptismal records can list the names of parents, and sometimes you can find the maiden name of the mother. Sponsors on a baptismal record may be family, so look at those too. Another thing to research is a child's middle name. It can be common to use a mother's maiden name. If a name appears in multiple generations, it might be a family name. My middle name was my third great-grandmother's maiden name, and can be found in every generation since and in multiple branches of the family. The right marriage record can include more information than you may think. While a marriage certificate can be cut and dry, always look at the witnesses. Sometimes the witnesses are family members and may be helpful. A marriage license usually recorded information about the individuals prior to marriage, including their previous marital status, the woman's maiden name, and the names of each set of parents. A woman's child may have listed her maiden name on their records, so always check the children's marriage records. A marriage announcement in the paper will usually list the names of the parents as well, although more often than not, only the husband's first name will be listed. It also may provide a location to check for further information. Divorce records aren't easy to find and vary from county to county. Some are available online, but most need to be ordered from the county where the record was filed. The newspaper can be a good way to find a record for a divorce, especially a contentious one. While divorces weren't terribly common, they occurred more than we think. The record on the right was decreed on and filed in 1857 in Boston, Massachusetts, and gave the wife the right to use her maiden name again legally. Some women simply moved and changed their names, or declared themselves widows rather than go through the cost and humiliation of a divorce. An obituary or a death certificate are incredibly helpful records. Many death certificates will list the names of her parents, or her name may be listed on her child's death certificate. In the second half of the 20th century, with the advent of Social Security, information about the deceased can be easier to find. Information listed may include a date of birth, location of birth, parents' names, and any other surnames the woman had registered on her account. This is very helpful if the woman was married more than once. An obituary may list her family or a cemetery where other family may be buried. Online sites can have images of headstones posted by volunteers, the Find a Grave site being the most popular. And some of those sites have family information as well, researched and posted by volunteers and family. I have found death certificates, obituaries, and links to other family members during my own research. Around the U.S. Centennial, in the late 1800s, there were a flurry of publications about the history of counties across the United States. Many contained biographies, usually submitted on a fee basis by important individuals in the community. They can contain helpful information, such as the biographer's life story, names of parents, spouses, and children, including maiden and married names. Although they tended to function as brag books, if you can find one for your family, they can be a great stepping stone in maternal genealogy. To find a woman, you must first find a man. But once you do find that woman, you can rewrite her story for future generations, making her a separate person and celebrating her life.